In 1957, the people of the Gold Coast became the first black Africans to get complete freedom. The country was renamed Ghana. Leaders from East and West came to Accra to witness the transfer of power. Vice President Nixon arrived with a delegation that included civil rights leader Martin Luther King, Jr.
A new order is coming into being, and an old order is passing away. It seems to me that this is fit testimony to the fact that eventually the forces of justice triumph in the universe, and somehow the universe itself is on the side of freedom and justice.
For Dr. Nkrumah, main architect of Ghana's independence, this is a day of fulfillment. The longing to be free, the need to be free, these are part of the rightful heritage of man, a heritage denied to colonial Africa until now.
The new nation adopted a parliamentary system modeled on Britain's. Committing themselves to civil rights, the government dedicated a huge commemorative arch in an evening ceremony.
Here, but a handful of years ago, men laid down their lives for a cause that was not yet won, for freedom, for justice.
Komla Bedima had been with Nkrumah from the start. Now he shared the glory.
And in the subdued light, we mounted the platform and were all ready when the lights all went on at 5 minutes to 12. With me standing on the right hand side of Nkrumah, everybody was happy. The cheering probably is still resounding, but we don't hear it.
At long last, the battle has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Now I want you all, those who have hats on, to take off your hats and let the band play our national anthem. And from now on, that national anthem is the national anthem of the Gogo to be played on all occasions.
The song of the night was called Freedom High Life, written by E.T. Mensah, the king of African high life music.
Ghana, freedom. Ghana, land of freedom. Toils of the brave and the sweat of the labor. Toils of the brave which have brought results. Toils of the brave and the sweat of the labor. Toils of the brave which have brought results.
It's very great that day at the Independence Square. People are dancing, singing. They love the music in the song.
The song really symbolizes the saying of Nkrumah, at long last, the battle is ended.
Because we have freedom. We have our freedom.
Already being hailed as the father of African nationalism, Nkrumah gave funds to other nationalist movements and preached the message across the continent.
This mid-20th century is Africa's. This decade is the decade of African independence. Forward then to independence now. Tomorrow, the United States of Africa.
But in much of Africa, the European powers still resisted demands for freedom. The French had declared that their colonies had no need for self-government because they were part of a greater France. Instead of independence, the French had offered integration. Selected Africans had been given the right to French citizenship and then encouraged to become black French men and women. A small middle class spoke French and shared French tastes. The special and privileged status of assimilation was granted to only a few.
Ça signifiait beaucoup de choses et rien du tout.
It meant everything and nothing. Everything because your whole social status depended on it.
Social dépendait de ça. Et rien du tout parce que
nothing because for all that, you never really felt like a Frenchman.
Dans la peau d'un assimilé.
The conceit that colonies could be an integral part of the mother country was already failing in the French territory of Algeria in North Africa. There, the large community of white settlers was under attack from Algerian rebels.
The rebels are believed to have an army of 3,000 well-armed and trained men, as the rebels make an all-out drive to force the French into granting independence, a move France adamantly refuses to make.
The rebels faced tremendous odds against the might of the French army. But the Algerians weren't interested in being part of a greater France. They would fight on for 7 years before finally gaining their independence. During the Algerian War, activists in other French colonies pushed for their own freedom. Amadou Barrow Diène was a student in Senegal.
In 1958, young people were really excited about independence. We were impetuous. We plunged ourselves into the movement because for us independence was the ideal.
En regagnant Paris, après son périple de 20 000 km, le général de Gaulle a pu se féliciter d'une prise de contact directe qui l'a entièrement éclairé sur le problème de la communauté franco-africaine.
Alarmed by the fighting in Algeria, President de Gaulle reluctantly offered France's black colonies self-government, but still hoped they'd stay linked with France. He toured French African colonies in 1958 in a last effort to persuade them. When he arrived in Senegal, the first part of his drive into Dakar went smoothly, but then the atmosphere changed. Amadou Barrow Diène and others who wanted full independence now organized a demonstration on the route.
We were here. Things were tense, but we'd taken the precaution of hiding our placards. The moment de Gaulle arrived, we brought the placards and leaflets out. We'd agreed that I should toss the leaflets into the general's car, and I did. And they drove on to the palace with us running behind, shouting, "Independence now!"
De Gaulle appealed to the people to remain with France.
Je veux dire un mot d'abord aux porteurs de pancartes. Je veux leur dire ceci. Ils veulent l'indépendance. Qu'ils la prennent. Mais s'ils ne la prennent pas, alors qu'ils fassent ce que la France leur offre, la communauté franco-africaine.
Africans soon got what they'd been asking for faster than anyone had expected. As the British, French, and Belgians scrambled out, 25 countries celebrated their independence in less than 3 years.